Hello, I'm recording this video from the beautiful Costa Rica. In the past 5 years or so, I spent a lot of time here in this country, either working from this location or supporting the community with different initiatives remotely. And the reason why I wanted to record it from here is so that the story that I'm going to tell feels a little bit more authentic and timely. Several years ago, I found out that there was an opportunity to implement fiber optics internet for this community here in Guanacaste in Costa Rica. I went on the mission in campaigning to collect the funds to build out this network. And one of the things that I learned that was really missing in this community was transparent communication. One of the biggest challenges in general was to actually persuade property owners here that the investment into fiber optics is important and that this will benefit the community at large. So how did I do that? I first and foremost recognized that there's a lot of fear that people might have when investing into something that's unknown. And doing business in Costa Rica is very different than doing business in the United States. So for me, the important part was to acknowledge the fears that people who do not live here full time or who live here but understand the dynamics of doing business in Costa Rica can still trust that this project can go through successfully. And I prioritized the importance of sharing the information in every stage of the investigation that I and the team at large were doing pertaining to this project. I not only had to learn what fiber optics is beyond giving fast internet, but also communicate it and deliver that information in a timely manner in order to build trust with community members. I think once people started seeing the information, understanding the challenges of what the implementation of this project would bring, they actually opened up the doors and were more susceptible to receiving that information and actually helping fund the project. Besides transparent and timely communication, I also had to form a team locally here who could be boots on the ground, so to say, and work with local vendors who would come here to assess the territory and provide us quotes. As well, I had to source a fiber optic specialist within my network back in the United States for them to help us sort of figure out what within this community would be reasonable. And once we've figured out the specifications needed for the network build out, then we came back to Costa Rican vendors and sent it out to provide us quotes, precise quotes based on those specifications. Obviously, in between all of that, I had to communicate everything to community members. I had to collect the funds. I had to make sure that these funds don't sit in the bank account and they are distributed in every phase, of the project. So one of the biggest lessons that I learned is that clear and timely communication is crucial in order to build trust. And language barrier apparently is not a problem as long as you have people locally here who speak the language, and as long as you're using Google Translate on a regular basis, you can go by without speaking the language. But by being remotely, I had to also trust the teams on the ground to make sure that they execute based on the agreements and based on the information that we shared with the community at large, so that there is no mistrust down the road or discrepancies within the implementation that would cause us problems later on. So the message here is that if you communicate your goals, if you communicate transparently and timely, and if you inspire people to believe that this challenge is possible to accomplish with their help, then anything is possible. And I have proof of that. Now, several years later, after we've come back, I still meet people in the community who are really thankful that we pursued this project, that we made it happen, and that now the benefits to the community are enormous. I'm curious to hear if there has been any experiences in your work where you felt that because of lack of information sharing, your job could not be done successfully. Leave the comments below, and I look forward to hearing back.